My blade is at your service.
Alright everybody, welcome to my first Irelia commentary. I'm actually sorry that I haven't been able to put out any videos in a while, but I've been both busy with work and trying to learn new champions since the major Akali nerf in the 3.5 patch. So with that said, I've actually been spending a lot more time playing top laners like Jayce and Irelia rather than other mid laners like Akali. Because I feel like it's a good kind of transition also to the way I like to play, which is kind of brawling all the time. That's why I really like Akali, and that's why I actually really like playing top lane champions like Irelia, just because it's a really kind of isolated lane, and if you like to brawl or scrap with people, as Cutie Pie says, 1v1, it's a great place to do that. Anyway, this is a ranked game that I ended up playing last night in solo queue, and as you can see, our team is myself as Irelia. Let me just move these around. We've got Amumu in the jungle, Karthus mid, and Draven Zyra bottom lane. While the opposing team is Jayce top, Mundo in the jungle, Anivia middle, and Graves Alistar bottom lane. So let's see what we have here. I'm just going to follow this actually from my own vision, just so you can see. I can talk about like the things I do when I'm playing and why I do them and where I screw up and how I can do things a little bit better. So Mummy actually started red, which is a pretty good idea for Mummy, just because he can actually make it all the way through to blue buff, especially if he has a smiteless leash like this, without running out of mana. And so that's actually a much faster way to get to level 3 if you just kind of do the wraiths and then the 2 big buffs, and then he can actually gank top immediately. Unfortunately, if you look at Jayce's items, we click here, he dropped a ward already, and so I think I told Amumu that, but he comes up anyway just because we're not exactly sure where his ward is, and it's worth just kind of poking your head around sometimes in case Jayce is not paying attention. Unfortunately, you can see Jayce is clearly paying attention. As soon as Amumu comes in, he backs way off, and so he and I go back to farming. This Jayce is actually a platinum player. I'm in gold 4 as of this point, and so I was a little bit scared going in, but you know, with Irelia, you always have a weak kind of first couple of levels, and so it's important to, you know, not get too intimidated or scared early game and just kind of farm it out until you can get to a point where you can trade with him. And because this player is actually pretty strong, I expect him to try to harass me early on. So I'm just walking around my creep line. I see that his creep wave is pushing pretty hard, and so I'm just kind of waiting it out, using my blade surge to try to get some last hits and try not to take as much harass as I could, or as he wants to put down on me. At this point, so he's pushing pretty hard. I'm eyeing that big cannon minion right here because that's a lot of gold. Trying my best to get in there and get out. And so that's, Irelia is really great with that, right? Like if you see a couple minions like that are low health, you can do some pretty cool little moves by blade surging to the low health minions and kind of catapulting yourself across the minion line if you time it right. Unfortunately, at this point, I just took a ton of harass on the way back, where he hit me with that acceleration gate shock blast combo at my tower, and I am starting to hurt quite a bit. And my potion just ran out here, and here's, like, this is pretty dumb, right? I'm half health against a Jayce. I'm trying to farm my tower, but I'm not chugging a potion, right? Like, you always want to be drinking a potion if you have one, if you're ever, like, below, like, 3/4 health. And so that's a pretty big mistake on my part right here. The one thing I was trying to do is trying to like bait him to do something like that. Unfortunately, I'm terrible at this game and did not get the stun off while he was in tower range. If I had managed to get my equilibrium strike off when he jumped right into the tower, I would have absolutely killed him. And that's what I was kind of going for. I was trying to bait him a little bit, but it completely backfired, and now I am really far behind in lane. So if you look at me, I am level 4.5 compared to Jayce, who is level 5.5, right? So he's a full level ahead of me, and he's pushing my lane to the tower, so I'm probably going to miss most of this. So he's just doing a really good job, and that was pretty dumb on my part. However, I did have enough to pick up a Philosopher's Stone, and so I got that and head back to lane. The reason I picked up a Philosopher's Stone here is a couple of things, right? So first of all, I'm pretty far behind in CS, and I'm pretty, like, at this point, I'm screwed in the lane, right? Like, unless I pull out, like, a major outplay, Jayce should be able to rock me, right? And so there are two things that you can do at that point. If you're behind, you can either go for the like super cost-efficient items like the Doran's item. So I could have gone for a Doran's Blade or Doran's Shield here, if you want to try to fight them, right, and like get back into lane. But what I did instead is pick up a Philosopher's Stone, which is a really gold-efficient item in that it will pay for itself after a while. But like right now, and while I have it, it's really not giving me any stats, right? Like, especially if I tried to fight him, like, I have no like brawling ability right now, because I literally don't have any stats or any items that give me like bonuses to like trying to fight him and duel him. And so like you see that there, like I actually got a lot of damage off on him here because my creep wave is massive, right? Like I had a cannon minion that was just like punishing him that entire little exchange. But like if I had a Doran's Blade, that would have been much better for me. Unfortunately, I'm just trying to farm it out and put some harass on him when I can, right? And when I can is when my health is lower than his, and I know that I can get like a good equilibrium strike followed by a couple auto attacks with my W activated. So there I jumped to a creep wave, went in for the stun, but unfortunately we had the same health, so the stun didn't go off, and so I kind of backed off. As soon as I pop level 6 though, like, I just want to farm, right? I just want to farm, and so I'm just trying to punish him for brawling with me, and because I also know that he doesn't have any more health potions, where I've got some health potions and regen from Philosopher's Stone, and so I'm just trying to harass him with my ult. I'm not even using it to farm, I'm just using it to harass, to try to like give myself some time to free farm. He goes on me pretty hard, and so I just kind of stun him, attack him. I didn't follow because I knew he could have killed me, and if you saw that there, we've got a Karthus on our team, and he's level 6, and Jayce is now dead, right? So that was Jayce misplaying by forgetting that my team has a Karthus, right? Like, that's not a gank, that's not anything, that's just, like, my team, my Karthus really being, like, really on point with his, like, ultimate use. And that was extraordinarily helpful, and that's why when you're playing against a Karthus, you have to be really careful about what you do when you're kind of brawling or scrapping in lane, right? Like, we were both at about half health. He jumped on me, I stunned him, got some auto attacks off, and then backed away, and we both ended up around 10% health. Unfortunately, when Jayce is at 10% health, Karthus can just press R, whereas when I'm 10% health, I just, you know, run back to my tower and I'm safe, and can chug some health potions and heal up with my, like, the innate sustain that Irelia has. So that worked out really well, and I am now totally back in business. Although I haven't actually gone back to shop yet, but you know, I've caught up in levels, I've caught up in CS. All is looking good right now for me, or at least a lot better than it was. Here, Amumu comes in. Jayce just got back to lane, so he doesn't have any wards, and this is a great play by Amumu. He throws the bandage toss, Jayce flashes it, but then Jayce goes in to like try to all-in Amumu, and I have my Ignite up. If Irelia has her Ignite up and like can stun you when you have less than like 75 or half health, you're probably gonna die. So that there was just fantastic accidental bait by Amumu. Like, Amumu didn't want to fight there. Like, as soon as he threw off the bandage toss, you just saw him back off. But Jayce kind of just got too hyphy and tried to kill our Amumu. He blew his Ignite, he jumped in, and like, Jayce is a really weak character when his cooldowns are up, right? And so he just used his Q and E both on Amumu, and then it had nothing to deal with me when I jumped on him, right? And like, once he was stunned, he really had nowhere to go. He had just blown his flash on the Amumu gank. Like, that was not the smartest move for him. Okay, so my first back, first real back, not my accidental death back, I pick up a Bilgewater's Cutlass and some boots. I don't have enough money for wards at this point, which is kind of unfortunate, but I don't want Jayce to know that. So I walk into lane through the river just to like say like, oh yeah, I just warded. Like don't like tell your lane that I did that. Fortunately for me, Jayce just tries to go ward for himself, and I just jump on him. Like that's how much damage Irelia can do if you get a good stun off and you have all your cooldowns up. And so he tries to escape, doesn't work. Jump to him, free kill. And this is just such good news for me as Irelia, because he just came back to lane, right? Like he had literally just come back to lane, maybe got 2 CS, and then immediately died, right? And so now I can freeze my lane, his lane is pushing, like, this is just fantastic news. Like, the worst time to die in lane is right when you come back, because it's basically, like, you basically give your opponent 2 full waves to just free farm, and you lose all that experience, you lose all that minion and CS, and so if you look at me now, I'm level 9.5, and Jayce is level 8, right? This is fantastic. Anyway, so we are just kind of farming it out. I really like how Jayce. So if you if you saw the chat there a second ago, I don't know how to let it go. Jayce is yelling at me, trying to bitch me out, saying, "Don't counter pick if you can't play the matchup." Right? So he's he's assuming Irelia is a counter to Jayce, which is kind of true, kind of not true. I'll talk about that in a second. But like, you don't badmouth someone if you can't handle it. Unfortunately, I get way too hypey here, and that just happened. All right, I'm gonna after this happens, I'll show you. I can go back and slow-mo this. So slowing down here, I see Mundo come out. So like, oh fuck, I don't have my ghost. I need to get out of here. And so what I'm doing is trying to just like put damage on Jayce. I realize there's no way I can kill him, so I start running away. At this point, I want to like bait Mundo and Jayce out towards their tower, because if you look at my skills, all my cooldowns are up, right? I can Equilibrium Strike back to one of these minions and hopefully try to make it out of here alive. Unfortunately, I don't know if this is a bug or intended or what, but Jayce auto-attacks me. I Equilibrium Strike, or Blade Surge rather, to this minion, and then the Jayce hammer goes off and knocks me back from where I was, right? That, to me, I was like, what the fuck just happened? How does that make sense? And so, at this point, I'm just like, fuck, well, I guess I'll just kind of stand here and die terribly, because I'm just so sad right now. That was, like, the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I assumed that Jayce's hammer would have pushed me away, but instead it knocked me back from where I had been standing before I used my Blade Surge, and god, that was really, really unfortunate. Really good play on Jayce's part if he did that purposefully, but I really don't think that was the case. They start pushing, Amumu comes in, tries to scare him off the tower, which is great, because if he didn't do that, they would have absolutely gotten the tower. But yeah, it's just like really unfortunate, and I didn't even know that mechanic existed. I'm still not sure whether it's, you know, intended or a bug, but that was very sad. I was like, oh yes, I got out, and no, I'm back like 1,000 units from where I had thought I was going to end up. So that was very sad. So I don't want that to happen again. So I'm just gonna. I went and actually bought 2 wards this time, because I'm like, screw this. I can't forget wards anymore. Like, this is just too important. I get back to lane, just start scrapping, because I'm like, you know what? Fuck you, Jayce. I hate you. You're a dick, and I just wanna fucking kill you, because that should not have happened. So I'm keeping those minions at low health back there, so I can Blade Surge them and then get my Blade Surge refreshed while I attack Jayce, right? Because ideally, when you go in on someone, you want to keep your Blade Surge as a way of like closing the gap if they flash out or do something, right? Like the ideal rotation there, and I just killed him because he's bad and was low health, and like Irelia has a lot of damage if you use Ignite. Like Irelia with Ignite is just so much damage. Anyway, to talk about the Blade Surge like combo that I was trying to go for, is that if you like, Jayce is not going to let me just walk up to him. He's smarter than that, right? And so if I just start walking up to him, he's just going to harass me with his ranged abilities, or just, you know, hit me back with his hammer. And so in order for me to get in range to use my Equilibrium Strike, I need to, like, use Blade Surge to get near him, right? So I want to Blade Surge to a creep, then Equilibrium Strike onto Jayce and start attacking him like that. Unfortunately, if I do that, then he'll just hammer me away and walk away. And so I want to do that, but still have my Blade Surge up so that if he knocks me away, I can get back to him. And so the way to do that is to Blade Surge onto a low health minion so that the cooldown gets refreshed, but then don't use it again until you need to close the distance, right? So you want to Blade Surge, get the cooldown refreshed, like that, right? So I Blade Surge to the minion, start attacking him, he knocks me away, and then I try to Blade Surge back just to get a little bit more health on. Unfortunately, I made a little bit of a misplay there. When he was here, I'll show this in slow motion because this is really important. So I Blade Surge to the minion, I stun him, and then I start attacking him. Right here, I should have been walking backwards in between my attacks, right? So I do it there, that's good. But now Jayce is walking backwards, and I should be moving with him in between my attacks. You never want to stand still while you attack. And the reason is that he just knocked me back away from him, right? And so if I had been, like, orb walking or moving in between my attacks, I would have been able to stay on his tower side of Jayce. Like, I want to stay between Jayce and his tower so that if he uses his hammer to knock me back, I get knocked back into his way, right? Like, he did a very good thing by walking behind me and then knocking me back towards my tower. Whereas if I had kind of stayed on his side of him, he would have knocked me, like, into his own path, and I would have definitely killed him. So that's just something to think about. Like, when you're auto-attacking, there's a time between your auto-attacks where you're just standing still, and you don't want to stand still. You want to move into a position that will, like, benefit you further down the line in the fight. So Jayce goes back, though, which is good. Like, it's still a win because I forced Jayce out of lane, but Mundo comes back. I'm just here to assert my dominance and be like, no, bitch, this is my lane, you get the fuck out. And so I force him to blow his ultimate. I had no intention of killing him there. Like, I probably couldn't. He can kite really well with his hammer, but that was good just to kind of get some cooldowns out of the way. Anyway, my ward's about to die, so I just throw down a new one. I want to put it a little bit closer to the tri-brush so I can see if Mundo comes, because he's the only person I'm really worried about right now. Anyway, it's now me and Jayce. Mono e mono, time to scrap. So I'm trying to do the little combo there. He walks back into range, which is kind of dumb, and so I get a free, pretty big chunk down on him. But he's quite good with his harass there. So I just pop my ult and be like, get out of here, bitch. You gotta constantly assert your dominance in top lane. That's the key. The key is to let him know who's boss. And right now I'm the boss, and I need to tell Jayce that. Unfortunately, it's really fucking hard to, like, totally zone out at Jayce, because he can farm from, like, 1500 range with his QE combo, his Acceleration Gate Shock Blast. And so it's hard to keep him, like, see that? There's nothing I could have done about that. Unless I stand, like, between him and just face tank all his Acceleration Gate combos, there's no way I can stop him totally from farming. But I'm still trying to, get him out of experience when I can, and just kind of bossing around a little bit. Unfortunately, like, me trying to zone him, I'm missing out on some CS, and so I'm still up 20, but I should be up a lot more. And look at this now. Like, I gave up First Blood, and now I'm 3 levels ahead of Jayce. Like, that's ridiculous. And he's doing he's playing very dangerously right now by hanging out in lane with half health. Like, I've got half health too, but Irelia is great when she's low health. Like, I can stun people. It's just way too much fun. But I do have Ignite up, and that means I can probably burst you down if you get anywhere near here. So my team's trying to yell at me, being like, yo, get the fuck out. I'm like, no, what's that? And so, okay, this is a really cool thing you can do with Irelia. So I just wanted to stop Jayce from backing. I didn't think he would actually try to fight me, but right here, I just popped my ultimate twice. I'm not gonna pop it the rest. I'm not gonna use it anymore, because if I use my ultimate one more time, I'll kill these back range minions. But I want to keep them low so that I can use them to jump onto Jayce, either with a double jump or just like jump and then like slow Jayce immediately. But I want to keep these low so that I can use them to get onto Jayce. And so he doesn't realize that, and that's his mistake right here. So he comes back, I jump to a minion, jump to Jayce, Q, auto attack, ignite, and that's just game over, man. Game over. So get a really easy kill on Jayce, farm out the minion behind the tower. And at this point I look down and my team's just absolutely crushing. We've got a 5-2 Karthus, and bot lane has already killed their tower, and so I was like, okay, maybe me and Amumu should take this tower now, finally get the last outer tower. So I do that, and head back and pick up some items. And obviously, as you could tell, I was building towards the Blade of the Ruined King. I had a lot of money because I hadn't been back in a while, and so I actually picked up a Ninja Tabby and Stinger. And so these are some items that are pretty interesting on Irelia, and the reason I'm picking up Stinger is because I want to build into Zephyr eventually, right? So I'm pretty far ahead in my lane right now, so I don't really need any more survivability, right? Like I'm beating Jayce in these trades even with no flat health items, and so I want to just go for attack speed and go like build towards Zephyr as soon as I can. And because I'm building towards Zephyr, which is an item that gives you tenacity, I can then get away with building Ninja Tabby, which will help me even more against the Jayce and the Graves. And so I build Tabby, I build Stinger, I've got Blade of the Ruined King. Like, my attack speed is really, really high right now, and I've got good survivability from the Tabby and the lifesteal from the Bork. And so I was kind of waiting for Jayce to go back, but apparently he's an idiot and decided to stay way the hell up without a tower or any wards, apparently. And so he's pretty much dead here. Although he makes a pretty good play. Jayce is really annoying to chase, just by the way, because he constantly gets or move speed increases by switching weapons and then also by using his acceleration gate. Fortunately for me, I have movement speed quints and caught up to him pretty nicely. I actually popped Ghost here, but Jayce is way the hell gone. My team, though, is shouting at Karthus to press R, and so... Dum 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 dum. Thank you, Karthus. That's two Karthus ults on Jayce now, and so we get the kill anyway. If you look at my items, though, I am terrible and didn't use Blade of the Ruined King. So, like, I could have easily killed Jayce if I had used Blade of the Ruined King without ghosting and without using Karthus ult. But, you know, a kill is a kill. Karthus ult for a kill is still a good trade, like, especially when we're this far ahead. We just want to, you know, take all the advantages we can get. So I take blue because I noticed Karthus already had their blue, and then go back to farming, because that's what Irelia does. She just, like, farms the shit out of things. And if you're winning as Irelia, you can just keep farming and, like, split pushing and no one can touch you, right? So my idea here is that, like, I'll just sit in top lane, force people to come deal with me, and probably be able to kill them, or definitely be able to kill them 1v1, and probably be able to duel 2v1 as well. Just because I'm pretty far ahead right now, especially with these items. Anyway, if we look mid, cleanup crew Jayce just came in, got a double kill. My team went too far under tower 4v5, but then they decided to stay, and so I jump onto Graves. I think he realized that he was about to die, so he just started, like, finishing up farming or something. I don't really know what was going on there. But Jayce tries to jump on me. I just ignite him and continue chasing Graves. And then Mundo comes, jump on him, use Blade of the Ruined King, and then get one last Equilibrium strike, and he's dead. And so that was a really good little cleanup there. Fortunately, my Karthus didn't die, and I get out with just a little bit of health, so that was just very, very well played by my team. Even though they got engaged on and died pretty early, we still came out ahead. This is actually kind of funny. If you're reading chat, Jayce is now bitching about, I don't even know what, he's basically got crushed, and because he was, like, yelling at me earlier, my team asked him, like, yo, what happened to that lane that you were crushing? And then he's like, oh, Amumu ganked me. And Jayce counted 4 Amumu ganks, apparently, which is pretty funny, because Amumu came once, right? Like, he came once and Jayce blew his flash. Amumu didn't actually land anything, so it wasn't like a very particularly good gank from that respect. But you know, apparently it counted. Jayce actually died then because he jumped back in on Amumu. So here I kill Graves. I expect Jayce to chase, and I almost kill him with a good dodge on his shock blast, but it didn't quite happen. Fortunately, let's check out the cooldown here on Karthus, and we get another kill on Jayce. So Karthus is just making it rain on Jayce, which I think is hilarious. That's his third kill on Jayce with his ultimate, and I think he got a refreshed blue buff there. Yeah, he did. So all is good in our world. Now their team's starting to rage at each other. Apparently they're all hating on Mundo. Oopsie. Because he's 0-3 and not, like, doing anything. I don't know. The only reason Jayce got that second kill on me is because Mundo came into lane, so I don't know. He's obviously not doing great because he's only been part of one kill, but blaming the jungler is a pretty fucking low move. Like, that's pretty shitty. You don't want to do that. Anyway, so we are really far ahead. I finished up my Zephyr, got some health, and got fur upgrades on my Ninja Tabby. And the reason I went with these guys is, first of all, I was ahead. Second of all, I thought it would be hilarious because I will run so fast, and running fast is the greatest thing ever. So I'm going with the Trackstar Irelia build, where I've got movement speed quints, Zephyr, and then fur upgrades. So I just want to attack fast and run fast. And at this point, I'm pretty sure the game is over, and so I just kind of wanted to build things that would be fun. Plus, running fast is always fun. So my team's going to Dragon, or Baron rather, so I just kind of stand in front of their tower and laugh at them, try to bait them to come out or keep them distracted. They're not really having any of it, they're just pushing out from the tower and letting me farm the waves in the middle. But our team does pick up the Baron buff, and there we go. And the enemies see that, obviously, because I'm right here, and they don't really want to touch us. So even though my team's not pushing, they're all inside their base. Everyone is MIA, and so I just kind of go take their jungle. It's kind of scary though right here because I don't know where they have wards. I don't know where their team is. All 5 of them are missing, but I do want a blue buff. That's always fun. So I try to take it while being kind of sneaky and making sure that if anyone comes up on me, I'll see them. Unfortunately, no one comes up. I still have no idea where they are. Apparently, during this time, they're actually just sitting in their base bickering at each other because we go ahead and take this dragon completely uncontested, and they surrender. So throughout the GGs, and that's how you come back. Come back in lane as Irelia. You just gotta bide your time, wait for Jayce to make mistakes, and capitalize on them. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned. I'll have some more games coming soon. Hopefully a Jayce game, a Lee Sin game, and as well a new Akali game with the buffs that she's got from the 3.7 patch. So keep an eye out, and thanks for watching.